Good day, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Black Health Trust. And I will now turn it over to our founder, Dr. Randall Maxey. You are still on mute, Dr. Maxey. We'd love to hear you.
Can you hear me now?
There we go. Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Walks. Thank you very much, Simon. Is Dr. Lawson on yet?
Not as yet.
Okay. I know Dr. Hines and Dr. Uh, Neighbor Stevens are out today. So I went to church today, and today was Pentecost, which I didn't know until today. And the sermon talks about how Jesus was very intense on the day he chose to die and rise from the dead. So I need help today. I unfortunately had some eye surgery last week, and I still am recovering, trying to see. So I'm going to ask you to help me read on the slides. And Dr. Simon and Dr. Taylor may help you if you would. And so I had a bright idea that I wanted to talk about several things about recent, very deadly viral outbreaks that have happened. And I wanted to talk about something that may also save your life. Let's go to the first slide, Simon.
Okay.
Okay, and I think I can read this first on my iPad. There have been recent deadly virus outbreaks. And what we want patients to know or people to know are what the warning signs are, what the potential treatment is, how we prevent it, and what the public health policy is in the US. Next slide, Simon. And Ivan, if you read for me.
Okay. Number one, how easily does a deadly virus spread? So airborne measles spreads much easier than Ebola, which requires contact with body fluids. Number two, how severe is the illness? Some viruses cause mild diseases in many people, but severe disease in infants, elders, pregnant people, or immunocompromised people. And then number three, can we prevent or treat? Vaccines, antivirals, public health isolation, and rapid supportive care can change the outcome. A deadly virus is not automatically a pandemic. Public health looks at severity and spread and available tools to make that determination.
So what you're saying is very important, is that the idea is not to panic, but to have knowledge. Knowledge is power. The more you know, the better you can protect yourself.
And Dr. Hines is with us, Dr. Maxey.
Hello, Dr. Hines, how are you? Is she muted?
She is muted, but there we go.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
My eyes are not working today, so if you and Dr.
We'll take it. Yep. Sorry, I was having some computer issues.
Okay.
All right.
Next.
I'll take this one, Dr. Maxey, while we're all getting up to speed. Oh, so many words on this slide, Dr. Maxey. Okay, so we have different columns. We have the name of a virus, it looks like, and then we have where that virus is, and then we have why it matters about that virus, and then we have a message to the patients or potential patients. So the first one is Ebola Bundibugyo. Where is it? Ebola is in the Democratic Republic of Congo and Uganda. Why it matters? Because Ebola can be very severe and spread through bodily fluids. And the message for us in the US is that the US risk is very low, and there is an active policy, travel policy. I read that they're starting to screen people at Dulles Airport, folks coming into the Washington in DC area. Next virus states and global. Why it matters? Measles is highly contagious, and there is a vaccine that can prevent the spread of measles. Patient message, need to make sure we have MMR coverage because MMR coverage gaps drive these outbreaks. Next virus is H5 bird flu. Where is it? Wild birds, poultry, and dairy cattle. Why it matters? Animal exposure and pandemic monitoring is going on. Message to the patients, to the public, human risk is low, but needs to be watched closely. Then next virus is Clade 1 Mpox. Where? Central and Eastern Africa, and travelers are at risk. Why it matters? It's a rash illness and looks like it can be spread through close contact. The patient message, there are vaccines and treatment for high-risk cases. The next one is the Andes hantavirus, where cruise ship clusters. Why it matters, severe lung disease and rodent-linked spread. Patient message, no US cases as yet from the cluster, but travelers are being monitored. And then the last one on this slide is dengue. Dengue fever. Where is dengue? In the Americas, Asia, Africa, and the Pacific. Why it matters? It's mosquito-borne, and severe dengue can kill. And the patient message is to take travel precautions and to make sure that we are adequately exercising mosquito control.
And the reason that is so relevant, the NMA, many of us are going to Puerto Rico in July, and Puerto Rico has major infestations from dengue fever. So make sure you take your bug repellent and make sure you're not around a lot of puddles, silent water and stuff. So be careful with that. Next
Okay,
slide.
so Dr. Maxey and Dr. Lawson has also joined us now. So
Okay, thank you. Dr. Hines?
Yes.
can you get the next slide, Simon?
All right. So we're going to get some statistics here. So there are a little less than 2,000 United States measles cases reported in 2026 as of May 21st. That's according to the CDC. There are 71 cases of the bird flu since February 2024. There are 22 cases of the monkeypox that were reported between November 2024 and May of 2026. And then the Ebola cases are rising in the Democratic Republic of Congo, Uganda, South Sudan, but there are no US cases. And the resurgence of measles has really gotten big between 2024 and 2025. So in 2024, it looks like there were less than 500 cases. And then by 2025, we had somewhere between a little over 2,000 cases. And 2026 is similar to 2025. So as far as how should we interpret this? So the average person is not at high risk for Ebola or the Andes hantavirus in the United States. The measles risk, though, is rising due to unvaccinated people, and you can be exposed in any number of common places, such as during travel, at school, at community gatherings. And then as it relates to the bird flu, mainly people who have direct animal exposure are at risk.
Thank you so much.
Next slide.
Next slide for us.
So for Ebola, the treatment approach for Ebola, this particular strain of Ebola. So it's really just supportive care, isolation, personal protective equipment, fluids, electrolytes, oxygenation, and there are some experimental options that might be studied. There is no approved vaccination for this particular strain of Ebola. As far as it relates to measles, so measles, the treatment option, the treatment approach is again supportive care, treat complications. There is some role for vitamin A supplementation with medical guidance. And MMR, or the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccination, is the main tool for prevention. In that regard, if you were born before the 1950s, you may or may not have been vaccinated for measles, mumps, and rubella, because the thought was it was so common that everybody didn't necessarily have to be vaccinated. But the easy way to check is to just get a blood titer, and you can find out if you have, it's a real simple blood test, you can find out if you have immunity. Bird flu, the treatment is, hold on, I'm trying to zoom in here. There is a antiviral that can be used as soon as possible when there is suspected infection. And then the main thing you want to do is avoid exposure to the virus. Monkeypox is also supportive care. Oh, I'm sorry. Can somebody else give me a hand? I can't zoom in enough to see the words.
Okay, I got you. With respect to the monkeypox, the treatment approach is supportive care, and also tecovirimat is considered for high or severe risk cases. And JYNNEOS for indicated patients is the best prevention. For the hantavirus or Andes virus, early hospital care, oxygen and ICU support, and no routine outpatient cure is available at this time. Best prevention, rodent control, and exposure prevention. And then for dengue,
a lot of people
Dr.
going
Maxey
on,
mentioned earlier. I'm sorry, Dr. Maxey?
a lot of people going on these ships now, and that's where the risk is. So be careful on the cruise.
Yeah. You know, we can start every single slide and every single bullet with understand where you're going and what the risk is and be careful. We can say that every single time. With dengue in particular, the treatment approach is fluids and monitoring, avoiding NSAIDs, like taking an aspirin, for example, urgent care for any danger signs of dengue. And again, best protection, mosquito control, and travel precautions. So many of these, Dr. Maxey, it sounds like we want to make sure that we are in areas where folks are thinking about just great hygiene, mosquito control, rodent control, using the basic stuff, mosquito repellent, and all of those things are just important as we head out for the summer travel season.
That's exactly right. Dr. Loss, can you do the next slide? Is he unmuted?
There he is.
Okay. Stay updated on vaccines. MMR, flu, COVID, RSV when eligible, Mpox, measles vaccine if indicated. Call before travel. Ask about destination outbreaks, dengue risk, maternal other vaccine, malaria and other vaccines, and insurance evacuation plans. Avoid risky exposures. Sick animals, raw milk, I don't know if we can get into that discussion, rodent trafficking, mosquito bites, and close contact with suspicious rashes. I might throw in a lot of people are going to not just raw milk or raw everything. It's a good idea to get, if you're doing sushi, get it closely examined. Test early when sick, tell your clinician about travel exposures so the right tests can be ordered. Protect others. Stay home when ill. This, by the way, is surprisingly difficult to convince people. They have the essential, they have to go to work, they're immune, I'm young, I'm too young to die, so forth and so on. Mask when respiratory symptoms occur, even though it is a violation of your rights to be free and so forth. And follow public health instructions. No urgent symptoms. Trouble breathing, bleeding, confusion, which is often surprisingly overlooked, severe dehydration, a fever or rash after travel equals call urgently. And I might also add that use of recreational drugs is another factor that it's obvious, but we should consider dirty needles, smoke, passing around wrong kind of marijuana, cigarettes, so forth and so on.
Yeah. The other thing that comes to mind talking about this slide, Dr. Lawson, is that this over the past few days, one of these famous NASCAR drivers died. And he started out just saying he needed help. Then he had something that seemed like sinus disease, but turned out he had a really bad pneumonia that ended up being fatal to him. But maybe if he had gotten help earlier, and notice it wasn't just something simple. So I want people not to just ignore symptoms. Get help. It's better to go to a doctor and say you don't need anything rather than go and not go and die.
Well,
let me just note that I've had a friend of mine who died from meningitis. She simply ignored the symptoms. I had another friend who thought she had a light case of the flu and died on the way to the hospital. So again, these symptoms should not be taken lightly.
I think that's the tricky part, though, because what many of these things have in common is that most of them start out with classic cold symptoms, right? You got a runny nose, I might have a cough, I might have a headache, I might feel tired. And then the change from the same run-of-the-mill cold that you might have had 15 times over into one of these more serious things. Sometimes you get days, sometimes you get hours, right? And being able, and when you're dealing with doctors or healthcare professionals who haven't seen some of these things before, especially, for example, measles, most doctors that are practicing now have not seen measles in anything other than a book because it wasn't around. So it can be hard to pick up on, or let alone some of these diseases that are very regionally specific. And then if you're outside of the region, and if you didn't say, hey, I just got back from the South Sudan for a trip, right? Ebola is not going to be in my, thought process. So in addition to responding to your symptoms, also, if you've been in any of these potentially high-risk scenarios, make sure you tell your doctor, even if it seems like, but that was 2 weeks ago, or, if it seems like it might not be important, share that information so that your provider can even consider that it could be some of these things.
Thank you so much.
And let me just add, Dr. Maxey, you mentioned the NASCAR driver. His name was Kyle Busch, and one of the things to add, very importantly, is that he was only 41 years old. So we talk a lot about elderly, immunocompromised, those with chronic illnesses. I've never driven NASCAR, but I know that these folks have to have a high level of physical ability and fitness. So when you've got a 41-year-old person that is highly fit, that suddenly is killed by, I'm not sure what it was yet, but don't walk around thinking that, well, I'm not 80 years old, so I don't have to worry about it. He was 41. So we have to, Everybody's not over 70 and still able to run marathons like Dr. Maxey and Dr. Lawson, you know. So just remember that whatever's coming for you can come for you. I had a couple of friends die from the flu when I was in high school.
Yeah.
Two friends died from the flu when I was in high school. They were in high school too, by the way. So let's take all of these. One of the reasons we do this on Black Health Trust is because it is so easy to walk around feeling good and feeling indestructible, and then something will hit you and can take you out.
Okay. So on the next slide, Dr. Walters, I want you to take, and these are going to be some discussions. For the past few months, we've talked about things that we need to do in our daily lives, about how to eat, how to look out for your metabolism, avoid diabetes, those things, and eat a vegetarian diet, at least a plant-based diet. But
Okay, well let's go. Small daily habits.
I came across some articles that talked about it may be difficult for some of us to make a change from eating red meat to doing a plant-based diet. And how can we do it? And that's where this next few slides come from. We take these, Dr. Walks.
I'm happy to take these. I just have a complaint because at the beginning of this particular episode of Black Health Trust, Dr. Maxey told us how he had had some eye surgery last week and how he was having difficulty seeing. And yet, and still, we are seeing evidence of the fact that he has read more in the last week than most of us can read in a lifetime. So I'm tired of you, Dr. Maxey, demonstrating your superhuman skills. Tired of it. Just be normal like the rest of us. Everybody else be laying around sleeping for a week, but not you. Okay, I'm finished ranting about Dr. Maxey now. The simple starting formula. The goal is not perfection. Oh, perfection is the enemy of progress. I add that all the time. The goal is not perfection. Start with 3 tiny steps you can actually repeat. Number 1 step, just get 5 more minutes of regular sleep, plus 5 minutes more of regular sleep, plus 2 minutes more of brisk movement, and then just a half a serving more of vegetables. Together, that 5 minutes more sleep, that 2 minutes more of brisk movement, that half a serving more vegetables, together, those small changes may add up to meaningful health benefits. Amen.
So
I just want to throw in, if the sleep does not, it's good. The sleep does not have to be continuous. You can take naps are okay. Some concern about for older people taking more naps, maybe a risk for dementia, maybe the other way around. The dementia may be what's caused them to do that in the first place.
any discussion on this slide? We have any disagreement on trying this method?
I think it's a really good point about making, small steps of progress. Like, and there's all kinds of other little ways you can add, get drink a glass of water before you go get the seconds, right? Or, even just the smaller plates, right? Like just get smaller plates to begin with so that you can't put as much food on them in the first place. There's all kinds of little things that you can do. So many of us are wearing some form of digital tracker, your watches or your rings or all the rest of that stuff. And it might be that the way that the goals are set, that you're not reaching them regularly, so you're no longer paying attention. You can change the goals, right? So if it turns out that you regularly are probably more in the 2,000 steps a day, then try 200 steps a day, and then you can get the dopamine rush of you met your goal, right? And then gradually move from there, as opposed to the thing telling you that will you do it today? You didn't do it yesterday. Will you do it today? So you can change some of the settings on those things so that they're more responsive, and you can just start over, right? Even if you had a goal before and you didn't make it, start over.
And Dr. Maxey, I just want to quickly throw in, we talked about what positive things, and I'm big on emphasizing the positive, but also cutting back some of those negative things. Going from smoking pack of cigarettes a day down to 1 or 2 a day. Drinking from a 6-pack every night to down to maybe a beer a week. Drinking from a fifth of wine 5 times a day to drinking to 1. Giving up, using those street stimulants and other street drugs, and just trying to stick to that which is prescribed.
Well, thank you so much. Dr. Hines, take the next slide.
Sure. So why does this matter? So longer life is best when it is also a healthier life. So
Amen.
lifespan is about how many years you live, but health span, which is an increasingly popular term, is about how well you live and the quality of your life. So how well is your strength and your memory and your independence, so that you can avoid some of the medical complications that come from various forms of illness. And your daily pattern can support you having, more normalized blood pressure, controlling your blood sugar, maintaining your kidney health, maintaining, a healthy mood and energy levels. And those things are important so that you're not just alive, right? But you're able to enjoy the life that you have.
Let me just point out one of the things on this list of blood pressure, sugar, kidneys, heart, and mood and energy is mood. It is amazing how much different your mood can be when you are doing these little things to increase your health span and to have a healthier lifespan. And it's not just you. Now, it may be your private improvement when your blood pressure and sugar and kidneys and all that is better. But let me tell you, your mood is a public thing. People around you are much better when your mood is better. Nobody can see your blood pressure. We can see when you're irritable and ain't acting right. The rest of us can benefit. Please help us by making sure that your mood is as good as possible.
I think that's a really good point, because also on this slide, there is a picture of people walking together in community, right? So, and that is also a part of your health spans, because who wants to be alive, right, and good health, but alone, right, and lonely? So I think that is also going to be a part of your health span. And some of these things, it is, it's better together, right? And to your point about mood, it's a lot easier to keep people around you, right? If your mood is not one that is repelling, that is potentially repelling people.
And what comes to mind is being of one accord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When 2 or 3 are gathered, I will be right in the middle.
Yeah.
Lawson, say the next slide.
And before we go to the next slide, one of the things I love about Black Health Trust is Dr. Maxey and I will usually have a little bit of banter at the very beginning about the fact that we both went to church, and going places where there are like-minded people is a very positive thing. Church is certainly one of those things. As we become less and less young and more seasoned, senior centers where there can be gatherings of people that are doing yoga together, that are playing cards together, that Dr. Hines mentioned being in community. It is important to find folks who are liking the same thing you're liking and want to do it with you. So that whole community piece that Dr. Hines mentioned is just a huge part of a health span. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Next slide, Dr. Lawson.
Yes, sleep. Your recovery prescription.
Amen.
More sleep is not always better. I just want to emphasize that's absolutely correct. One is type of depression that's characterized by people literally sleeping all the time. Regular, I want to emphasize regular, restful sleep is the target. There are many people who are in bed, purported to sleep, never get out of the stage 2, who spend the whole night restless. They got their eyes closed, but they're not really having restorative sleep, which is key. Aim for a regular bedtime and wake time. That's basic sleep hygiene. And that means, and don't mess it all up by thinking that if you drink coffee in the morning, you're not gonna have any problems later at night. Try a 5-minute wind down earlier tonight. Again, the number of people who run a mile and then drop in bed and think they're going to go to sleep. Don't work that way. Try to get in the morning or away from it. Reduce late caffeine. Caffeine, I think last time I checked on some of the caffeine products, their half-life is 16 hours. So late caffeine and avoid early caffeine too, especially some of these super nitro drinks that you can go for a couple of days. Avoid alcohol, avoid nicotine, and screens. Ask about sleep apnea, and I might also add, and finding some folks that now evaluate sleep apnea also actually have narcolepsy. If you snore or you feel very sleepy, actually, anytime if you feel inappropriately sleepy, try to get a workup on that. Even if you're not snoring, and I've met a lot of non-snorers who have sleep apnea. Small start, go to bed 5 minutes earlier. I'm still trying to convince especially kids that somehow if they go to bed, they're gonna miss something. What we found, and again, our data at Howard showed that especially kids living in the inner city get far less sleep than folks in other places for a variety of reasons. And unfortunately, much of it's from the habits of the parents as well.
Thank you very much. I'm gonna try this next. I got my magnifying glass. So go to the next slide, Simon. So it's about movement. So use exercise snacks, they call them. And this is walk very briefly, 1 to 2 minutes after any meal that you have. Use stairs or hallway walking when it's safe. Try chair stands during TV commercials if you're sitting down like I am all day. And build slowly and walk more often, move for these little snacks. That's important. So 2 minutes of brief movement. Run up the hall, go up the steps, come down the steps for just a couple of minutes. Next slide.
Dr. Maxey, these little exercise snacks, this is wonderful because one of the things you can do is just park further away. If you're going someplace, we're always looking for that close parking space. No, look for a far away parking space when it's safe and well lit and what have you, and it's safe to take that extra walk. Or if you're parking in a parking structure, walk down those stairs instead of taking the elevator from level 4 or level 5. Holding on to the rail and being very careful. But there are so many opportunities for us to do a little bit more than we do. And I'm just going to add for the chair stands during TV commercials, take your time and get good at it, but practice standing up without using your hands. Stop putting your hand behind you and pushing off from that chair. Try to lean forward and stand up without pushing off from the chair. It may not be easy at first, but if you continue to do it, it'll help you not only with your strength, it'll also help you with your balance and your core strength as you're practicing those standing up from that chair.
Actually, I just want to follow up with the walk there. You're doing 1 or 2. One, we're well aware that falls are a major cause of mortality in the DC area. But at the same time, the answer to avoiding falls is not to avoiding doing anything.
Right.
So that you can exercise safely. I've seen people rush out with a wheelchair when there's a steep stairs. Not that you can help it. There may be other alternatives to get where you're going in which you don't have to have somebody pushing you in a wheelchair. On the other hand, if it is not safe to walk down the stairs or go, and another important thing, our eyes are very important for balance especially as you get older. So it's very important to make sure that you have lighted walkways where you're going. You know, a lot of falls because folks just can't see or know how to grab something when they're going.
Thank you, Dr. Walks. Take this slide.
Before you go off this one, I just wanted to also add, this is another time again, we are wearing these little smart devices and we are walking around with cell phones in our hands that can also give you little timers and give you little clues to take movement breaks, right? It'll say, oh, it's time to get up now or whatever.
Mhm.
So you can use those to kind of help you remember to take little breaks. So, because for some of us, there aren't any clues to say, get up, right? You don't even realize that you might have been sitting around for 3 hours if you don't have to go to the bathroom and and you're not thirsty or hungry. And then the other thing I would say is walking is awesome, but it's not the only exercise that you can do. So for example, if you are not in a position for whatever reason that getting out to walk or whatever is not feasible for you, there are plenty of chair exercises. There are plenty of things that you can do seated. You can look them up on YouTube and that type of thing. And then a lot of people talk, one of the things I think is really underrated is the use of exercise bands. Exercise bands can fit right in your little purse. They can fit in your bag that you're taking to work. They can fit in your suitcase. And even in your house, put the stuff in the space that you're in. So even if the space where you keep your exercise is neatly packed somewhere off to the side, but you're not over there, you can sit your little exercise bands right next to your bed. So you can wake up before you wake up and do a couple rounds of stretching or that kind of thing and kind of get yourself moving. So there are not rules on how you do your movement or how you do your exercise. All of the movement counts.
Yeah,
Thank
you.
that's and again, we have a lot of ways of developing low impact exercise that are
Amen.
very effective and not quote,
Okay, we can go to the next slide, Simon.
including almost all of the martial arts, Tai Chi, also Jiu-Jitsu, all of these can be done by almost anybody if you have a well-trained, decent instructor. And also, don't forget, we talk about walking, but don't forget the upper body as well. Raising your arm, squeezies, all very important, especially since so much of use computers. Sit in one position, hold your hands in one position, and then end up unable to move your hands or your shoulders later. So it's important to make sure that you take steps to rest those hands, move those hands, use the squeezies if you're going to do it. And if you find squeezing too much, go out and dictate. But give your upper body time to have exercise breaks, especially when you're using the computer.
Thank you, Dr. Walks. Take the next slide, if you will.
Nutrition. Oh, goodness. Add before you subtract. What does that mean? A small serving of vegetables. It's a realistic place to begin. We mentioned this earlier. Add half a serving of vegetables to one meal. Examples: a carrot, some greens, broccoli, bell pepper, vegetable soup. Use frozen vegetables when cost or time is an issue. For kidney disease or heart failure, ask about potassium, sodium, protein, and fluid. So understand what is in the vegetables that you are putting in your body. So again, start small. Add a half a serving today. No time like the present.
Dr. Hines?
Yeah, but before we go to the next slide, I just wanted to say for some people who have developed a mindset that says, I don't like vegetables, right? And there are a lot of people who do. There's a couple things I would suggest in that regard. One, if this is a long-standing belief that you've had, cooking techniques have changed, right? So sometimes there are things that you may have had some time ago and you didn't like any of those things, right? People are doing things differently, both in restaurants and in their homes with how they are cooking vegetables. So give it a try. So we joke in my house about a 3-bite rule. Just give it 3 bites, see, right? And it doesn't even have to be yours. You can try somebody else's thing. When somebody orders those Brussels sprouts at the restaurant as an appetizer, and you're like, what Brussels sprouts? Try them. They might actually be good. The other thing too is if vegetables aren't your thing for real, right? Remember, you can still try fruit, right? So it doesn't have to just be the one. And then just keep an open mind because taste buds change over time. Things that you didn't like, and it might not be that you didn't like vegetables. It might have been a texture issue because there was a time when we were just cooking stuff to death, right? And maybe you liked your stuff with a little bit of crunch on it and a little less mush, right? And that might be the thing that you have with vegetables, or things like we weren't peeling things because sometimes the skin can change the taste of stuff. There's a lot of different things that lead to people thinking that they don't like vegetables as a whole, when it might be just a few things that you might not have liked.
Dr. Max, I just want to add, and also raw vegetables are delicious, but if you use the right seasoning. I've seen people we have things like coleslaw in vinegar, not mayonnaise, vinegar, or olive oil. Olive oil can be a wonderful seasoning. And there's a whole host of different kinds of non-caloric, overly stimulating seasonings you can put on vegetables, especially our cultures have done this. The U.S., for some reason, we've avoided like the plague, but it's something we should look at. How can you season vegetables without adding stuff that's going to put you in a worse position when you started, like those so-called incredible hamburgers and all that stuff. They got all the stuff that the meat has in it.
Thank you so much. Let's go to the next slide. And we got a few more slides, so we want to go.
So how these habits help the body. So sleep, movement, and nutrition work together. So as it relates to your heart, your blood pressure, circulation, and fitness are all working together. Your kidneys are also a close cousin, and your blood pressure, diabetes control, inflammation, including like anti-inflammatory foods and things, are all going to be playing a role as far as your kidney health is concerned. Your overall metabolism is going to be impacted by your blood sugar, cholesterol, your weight, your energy levels, and then your brain and mood are impacted by your memory, stress, focus, and overall resilience. And all of these things are working together. So your lifestyle supports your medical care, and it doesn't replace your medications, your labs, or your clinician visits.
Thank you.
Dr. Max, I just want to mention, I just came to the American Psychiatric Association meeting, and also just checked in on the American Psychological. We're now recognizing that we just don't want to reduce sadness and depression. What we find is that if you work with people to think positive, this by we've discovered, it looks like it's discovered every 10 years, that if you think positive, emphasize the positives, that you improve your lifespan, avoid depression, as well as improve the ability to get things done. Again, it's not that you should go out and ignore bad things or pretend they don't exist, but it really helps when you take a positive outlook and say that the glass is half empty, half full, not half empty.
And then, Simon, can you go down 5 slides where it says all-cause mortality? You want to take this, Dr. Lawson?
All-cause mortality, dose of combined change. DMC medicine analysis, combined Spain changes were associated with lower all-cause mortality risk. So, and I like this. I like to bring together, integrate these processes because they're not independent. And this side shows small combined changes can scale up to meaningful risk reduction. There's a little sign we talk about in karate sometimes, which is better, doing 1,000 kicks one time or doing 10 kicks, but do them every day. This is a very similar kind of thing. Here it shows lower all-cause mortality in minimal combined, moderate combined, and optimal model. You can get up to 70% reduction. And we're 10% lower risk, where we talk about the 15 minutes of sleep, minimal MBTA, DQS, and all the way down to larger combined change, which may not you can get great results, but it's not necessarily practical for all patients. I like to look at this lower risk. What they've done is taken multiple less combined things and gotten meaningful results because you combine all of these: sleep, behavior, and so forth.
Dang it. What I want to do now is I'm going to go down 5 slides until it says glute strength and development. And I want to go to Dr. Walks on this. He cautioned me about how to use the word glute. I had another word for it. I call it your behind, as opposed to the word I was going to use, which also rhymes with the word donkey.
You know what? Dr. Maxey calls me during the week so he can misbehave. That's why he and I both have to go to church on Sunday, is because we talk during the week. Dr. Maxey said that we had to talk about our assets. And I told him, no, Dr. Maxey, we can talk about glute strength and development. So it's one of the largest and most important muscles. And we talked a little bit earlier about getting up out of your chair, about using those muscles, those core muscles that move the large parts of your body. And if you work on moving your gluteus maximus, gluteus minimus, anything that has gluteus in front of it, if you're working on using that, it's very important for strength, for posture, for balance. Glute supports daily movement. This is hugely important to the extent that you can, using those core major strength muscles, those big levers in your body.
Yeah, once the next couple of slides, and then we'll go to Dr. Hines and Dr. Lawson.
Okay. So what are the glute muscles? Patients often call this the butt muscle, but it's really a group of muscles. The glute muscles, 3 layers that work together. Gluteus maximus, the large outer muscle, power, size, climbing, standing. Minimus, deeper helper muscle for posture, strength, and smooth movement. And when we talk about the hip stability, we need to talk about hip flexibility as well. So you want to be able to move these muscles and move those joints so that you can keep moving them.
Can I also just add that sometimes when we start doing exercises that we haven't done before, or even if you're used to walking, but now I decided to add a hill or something like that, you can get soreness in some of these muscles, right? And that doesn't mean that I shouldn't be walking anymore. It might be something that you need to, see the PT or all that kind of stuff, but it might just be something that needs time, because even though you've been used to walking, you haven't been walking up a hill, or you haven't been doing kind of a hiking kind of thing, which is going to use different muscles than just walking on the sidewalk.
Amen.
Next slide, Dr. Hines, take it.
So why strong glutes matter for your health? So glute strength is not only about appearance, right? Because, we're thinking about round booties, right? It supports basic. So when you're thinking about walking on stairs, that's going to help. Your glutes are responsible for helping push the body forward while you are climbing steps, and then posture and back support. So that's going to help stabilize your pelvis and may reduce, in particular, lower back strain, balance and fall prevention. So helps your glutes help control the hip when standing on one leg. And remember, when you're walking, you are intermittently on one leg. knee alignment. So this is going to help your knees track forward rather than collapsing inward. So it is not uncommon for sometimes people's knee pain to not be coming from a knee problem. It can sometimes be coming from hip issues or hip alignment issues or ankle issues, that type of thing. Daily independence. So that's going to be key in helping you get out of chairs, get out of cars, get out of bed, and then body composition goals. So resistance training can support muscle tone and shape. So in conclusion, stronger glutes help with independence, fall prevention, joint protection, metabolism, because they are a large muscle group. So they absolutely help with burning calories and healthy aging for all adults.
So take the next one in, Dr. Lawson.
So why these muscles are important to everyone. So they are not just for appearance, while they are critical in helping you move with your balance, protecting your joints, and staying independent. So standing up is critical for, if we're talking about staying independent, getting out of chairs, getting out of cars, getting up off the toilet, getting out of bed, and walking power. So your glutes and your hips are responsible for pushing your body forward. Metabolic health, because like I said, they are considered one of the large muscle groups. So they help your body use energy. As part of healthy aging, they are a critical part of strength for independence. We discussed knee alignment and back support, so reducing overwork on your lower back and balance, keeping your pelvis steady. So stronger glutes can make your everyday life feel easier, steadier, less painful, and safer.
And Dr. Lawson?
Yeah, I just want to quickly note that it's not just being prepared for consistent behavior, but also for if you trip or if a sudden change, you will much less likely to get injured.
Thank you. Take the next slide if we would.
The glutes help with ordinary daily tasks. Many people only notice these muscles when they become weak. Then simple tasks feel harder. Sit to stand helps you rise from a chair without pushing hard with the arms. And I might add, I do that on a regular basis. And it makes a huge difference. Walking extends the hip and helps each step feel stronger. And this doesn't necessarily mean you walk long distance. I just came from a meeting where I spent walking 2 miles a day, but I'll walk like maybe 10, 15 yards at a time. Stairs powers the body upward and controls the body going down. Surprisingly, people find it's fairly easy to get up the stairs. The real problem is going down. That's when a lot of the falls take place. Bend and lift supports the safe hip hinge so the back does less of the work. And again, there's a whole documentation about how do you bend and pick up things, and especially for men. A lot of guys end up with lifetime injuries from not knowing how to bend and lift. Get in and out of a car. Helps rotate and lift the body without straining hips or back. Carrying groceries. Stabilize the pelvis while the body carries the weight. And again, this is another very, very common cause of chronic back pain, strain for people that end up with almost lifetime injuries from not doing it the appropriate way.
Take the next slide if you would.
Strong glutes support the back, hips, knees, and feet. The body works like a chain. Weakness at the hip can make other joints work too hard. Pelvis stability. The gluteus medius and minimus help keep the pelvis level when you stand on one leg or walk. Low back protection. When glutes are weak, the lower back may overwork during lifting, bending, stairs, and walking. Knee tracking. Glute strength helps prevent the knee from collapsing inward during squats, stairs, and getting up from a stair. Key idea, hip strength can reduce extra stress on the back and knees, but pain, of course, should be evaluated clinically. Might add, I just had 6 people that I knew personally just had knee replacements, hip replacements, so forth and so forth. All of those, many of those kinds of conditions can be avoided if you just use appropriate techniques in terms of maintaining the stability back section and knee tracking.
Thank you. Dr. Walsh, if you take the next 3 slides, if we each take 3 slides, we can be finished. We're about 5 minutes over.
Okay. Balance and fall prevention. Glutes matter at every age. Falls often happen during turning, stepping, reaching, or climbing stairs. All of them require good hip control. Walking, glutes stabilize the pelvis. Turning, hip muscles help control your turning. Stairs, glutes help you power up and down. For older adults, glute strengthening plus balance training. Let me just stop. Balance training can support independence and confidence. Next one, please, Simon. Okay, glute strength also supports metabolic health. Muscle is active tissue. Dr. Hines talked about how important these large muscle groups are and moving them, using them. Building and preserving muscle helps the body handle energy more efficiently. Exercise, muscle repair, using glucose, more function. Keep using them. Number 1, blood sugar support. Resistance exercise helps muscles take in and store glucose, which can support diabetes prevention and or management. Body composition, strength training helps preserve muscle, while weight loss efforts focus on reducing excess body fat. Healthy aging, maintaining leg and hip muscle protects mobility, independence, and confidence over time. So the expanded message is glute strengthening supports blood sugar control, body composition, balance, independence, and healthy aging. All of this impacts diabetes, heart, kidney, or joint disease. Next one, please. Okay, third one for me. Why the glute muscles are important to everyone. These are not just appearance muscles. Well, Dr. Hines, for some of us, they are. We like looking at some good, healthy glutes. So I just have to say that. These are not just appearance muscles, though. They are movement, balance, metabolism, and aging muscles. Daily movement matters. Dr. Lawson covered this. Stand up from a chair, carrying groceries, bending safely. Number 2, the hip power center, balance and falls. The side glutes help keep the pelvis steady when one foot is off the ground. Number 3, working those large muscles improves how the body uses glucose and stores energy. And number 4, healthy aging. Preserving strength helps protect independence and confidence over time. These are things you don't really know you're going to miss until they're gone. Your independence and your confidence moving around are massively important to maintain a good outlook as we continue to age. Patient message: stronger glutes make life easier, safer, and more independent, not just improve body shape. Next one,
I
please.
just want to add that the other thing we want to prevent is also injury. If you're 70, 80 years old and you get a broken hip, it's a strong predictor of soon death and other complications.
That's true. That's true. Dr. Hines?
So just to add to the body composition space, remember, sometimes the reason why those hard chairs and the pews are uncomfortable is because our glute muscles aren't there anymore, giving us any of that padding. So there's also a comfort space for that as well. So the 3 glute muscles, just as a reminder, the gluteus maximus, your main power source, your gluteus medius is that side stability, and then your gluteus minimus is smaller, and it is a deep stabilizer for fine motor control. So your gluteus is helping you with stabilization side to side as well as front to back. And when these muscles weaken, the surrounding joints, your back, your knees, your hips compensate and make it harder for you to do some of the independent activities like getting up the stairs, bending, and getting out of chairs. Next slide. So how you can train your glutes so that it can help with your blood sugar and insulin sensitivity. So contraction, so glute exercises like make muscle contraction and demand fuel. As far as blood sugar or glucose entry, the muscle cells move glucose transporters to the cell surface, and then that leads to a better response to insulin. So it improves your insulin sensitivity and gives you more preserved muscle, means more tissue that is available to use your glucose. So before training, you have a smaller muscles that can be, quote, a sink for glucose. But with regular training, you'll get better glucose uptake and stronger function as a blood sugar regulator and improved insulin sensitivity.
This is the next slide. We're gonna
And muscle strength is linked with healthier aging and longevity for all the reasons that we just talked about. So longevity being more than just lifespan, but health span. Protecting your leg strength is protecting your independence and protecting your function, and doing those things together, aerobic activity, strengthening, strength training, balance work are all part of your long-term health package. And as you can see from the graph, it impacts your cardiovascular risk, your diabetes risk, your overall mortality, and improves the odds of living longer for older adults.
thank you. We're almost at the end. Next slide. That's Lawson.
Make glute strength a health habit. I want to emphasize that, make it a health habit. Many people will do it once, twice, maybe a week. Okay, I'm done. Don't do any of this stuff no more. 1, learn form. Move slowly. Keep ribs, hips, knees, and feet aligned. That's where a lot of people give up. They have lousy form, uncomfortable. They won't do that mess anymore. Start easy. Use body weight, chair support, or a light band. Again, folks start heavy, try to lift a heavy box, sprain the back, done. Practice weekly. Aim for 2 short sessions per week if cleared. Yeah, I think it should be more frequent, but 2 to 3 times a week. 4, progress gradually. Add reps, sets, resistance, or range of motion. A guy who did eyeball exercise. Every week he'd go out and move his eyeballs back and forth, and it did not help his glutes at all. Track functioning. Notice stairs, walking balance, and chair rises. That's a very important point, especially as you get older. Make sure you know what you're doing in terms of being attentive. People mess up because they make mistakes. Stop and check rule. Stop if you feel sharp pain, chest pain, severe shortness of breath. You can get shortness of breath initially, but we're talking about severe dizziness or new neurological symptoms. Start getting numbness, eyes start getting stagnance and so forth. A little bit concerned. Success is function. Progress can mean easier stairs, better balance, less fatigue, and more confidence. And I might also add, also less likely to get injured if you slip and fall. And you find that you can do a lot more different activities, dancing and moving about, if you've done some of these activities. It's not just for appearance.
Go next slide, Simon, if you would. So clues that glutes may need more strengthening. Dr. Walsh, you take this slide and the next one. We're almost to the end.
These signs do not prove diagnostic, but they can guide exercise selection. You got trouble rising from a chair without using your arms, that's an indication may need some strengthening of the glutes. Low back tightness after walking or standing, difficulty climbing stairs or stepping up. Knees cave inward during squats or walking on stairs. Hips drop on one side when walking. Poor balance when standing on one leg. Simple self-check. Can you get up from a chair without pushing off? Can you step up without wobbling? What to do?
Take the next one if you would. We're close to the end.
Said earlier, check with your practitioner to make sure that what you're doing is safe for you to do.
Go ahead, Dr. Walsh. We got about 3 more slides, I think.
Got about 3 more slides and minus 3 minutes. Hip thrust, a stronger version of the bridge that can build size and power when done correctly. Hip thrust, ribs down, chin tucked, and feet planted. Set up, upper back rests on a stable bench. Flat feet, shoulder width, knees bent about 90 degrees at the top. Key clues: chin tuck, ribs down, drive hips upward, squeeze glutes, do not overarch the back. Progression: start with your body weight, add a band or lightweight only after the movement feels stable. Patient-friendly clue: move from the hips, not the low back.
Okay. Let's go one more and then I think we'll have to
All
call
right,
it.
last one, chair squat. A patient-friendly squat variation that trains your glutes, thighs, balance, and daily function. How to do it. Stand in front of a chair. Sit hips back slowly, tap the chair, then stand tall. Key clues. Chest tall, knees point in the same direction as the toes, feet stay flat. Beginner dose, 2 sets of 6 to 10 reps. Use a higher chair or light hand support if needed. Common fixes, if your knees cave inward, use a light band and think knees gently out.
So sometimes you can advance 4 slides, we'll get close to the end. There. Let's go to the next one.
So home and gym options. Patients can get started without a full gym. So to do a you don't need any equipment to do some of these things, like the glute bridge, chair squats, step up using stairs or wall supported hinge. You don't need any equipment. There are some low cost things that you can have, resistance bands, light dumbbells, exercise mats. You can get all those things at some of those stores that are like Target, if you're going back there, or any of these other kinds of multi-convenient stores. You can get a lot of those things. And then if you do decide to get any machines or tools, you can get a hip thrust bench, leg presses, more significant dumbbells, barbells. But the point is, you can use your own body weight to get a far way.
Okay. Let's go one more slide, Dr. Lawson, and then we'll go final comments.
Your nutrition for glute growth, that's where we're at. Nutrition for glute growth and recovery. Exercise creates the signal, food supplies the building material. Nutrition support, fuel muscle repair. Vegetables, protein, and carbs, whole grain. Sleep helps repair. And most importantly, hydrate daily. Protein, including food protein at meals to support muscle repair. Repair beans, fish, poultry, eggs, Greek yogurt, beans, and tofu. Carbohydrates, choose whole grains, fruit, and starchy vegetables to fuel workouts and walking. Hydration, drink fluids according to your health plan. Kidney or heart patients may have individualized limits. I might also add that stimulant drinks, including coffee and a bunch of others, can actually reduce hydration because they cause excessive urination. Patient muscle growth is slower when calories, protein, sleep, or recovery are too low.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate my co-moderators helping me. I want to send these slides to everybody who attended. We can get that done. Why don't we have final comments starting with Dr. Lawson?
Very quickly, I just want to emphasize again, research. All of these are important. Also, don't forget that holding on top of your neck, the brain, and also and the evidence that's showing that if you take a positive outlook to life, build on the spiritual foundation, and again, develop all of these steps in moderation, that you can go to a better quality lifestyle.
Thank you very much. Dr. Hines?
So if you're like me, you might have started a lot of things and then they lasted for a little while and then they kind of fell off, right? But one of the things that Black Health Trust, and we have a lot of regulars on here, this is a great time to just remind yourself, you can start again. You can try again and set some small goals and give it another shot.
Thank you so much. Dr. Walks?
So I just want to let everybody know that last time I was out in Los Angeles, I rented a little tiny car, Mazda Miata. It's a little tiny car, sits like maybe an inch or two off the ground. And I came and picked up Dr. Maxey. Now, Dr. Maxey is no longer 25 years old, but Dr. Maxey walked over to that car and he sat all the way down in that seat easily and comfortably. And when we got where we were going, he swung his legs out and he got out and stood up, got out of that car. So I'm just saying, if y'all want to ride with me in a little itty bitty tiny convertible, everything we talked about today is important. And I can testify Dr. Maxey does that stuff. He can sit way down low and he can get right up. And it's fun. So don't miss your chance to be however old Dr. Maxey is and be able to get in and out of little tiny convertibles and have all the fun you can stand. Just do the stuff that we talk about doing, because it may be great to be 70, 80, and 90, but it's no fun being 70, 80, and 90 if you can't go anywhere.
Thank you. I'm 29. Thank you very much. I
Hypothetical.
really appreciate my co-moderators helping me through this, and thank you, Simon, so much. Any last things in the chat, Dr. Walks?
No, just how wonderful you are, Dr. Maxey, and how much folks appreciate all that you do.
Well, thanks, everybody. Enjoy your day. Remember, this is what day is this? Pentecost Day.
Pentecost Sunday.
Have a great Sunday. Thank you, Simon, so much. Thank you, Dr. Lawson, Dr. Hines, and Dr. Walks. Really appreciate
Good
it.
day, everyone.